The night before Monday, Akachukwu could not sleep. He stayed up all night, thinking of how he was going to cash out the 5 million naira Larry gave him as his daughter's bride price. He even started drawing up a list of what he was going to do with the money. When it was finally Monday, Akachukwu dressed up quickly and got ready to go to the city to cash the check. He didn't even have his bath nor ate breakfast. He only managed to brush his teeth so that his mouth won't be smelling while talking to the cashier at the bank. While inside the bus, Akachukwu felt sleepy because he didn't sleep the previous night. But instead of him to relax and take a little nap like he usually does when going to the city, Akachukwu clung tightly to his bag containing the check. He saw everyone inside the bus as a suspect, and so he forced himself to stay awake all through. On reaching the bank, Akachukwu sat patiently, waiting for his turn to be attended to. When it was finally his turn, he excitedly brought out the check and handed it to the cashier. The cashier took the check and after checking it on her system, gave the check back to Akachukwu. "Sir, please take your check. We cannot honor this check because it is a bounced check." "What do you mean by it is a bounced check? Do you know who gave me this check? My very rich son-in-law gave me this check, and you are here telling me it's a bounced check. Little girl, I know that you have never handled such money before because of the peanuts they pay you people here as salary. Or maybe you have looked at me and thought to yourself that I cannot handle such money. But I laugh. Please, if you don't know what to do, call your superior to come and cash my check. And don't waste my time any further," Akachukwu said. He kept on insisting that the cashier should call her superior to attend to him. His voice began to rise to the point that he drew the attention of the bank manager. "Good morning, sir. Please, what could be the problem?" the bank manager asked. "This little girl here has refused to clear my check. I gave her my check of 5 million naira. And instead of her to tell me that the money is too much for her to process, she is here telling me that it is a bounced check. See, manager, you people should take these little girls for proper training before allowing them to work for you. Imagine the incompetence. Please, don't be offended, sir. I will personally attend to you. Do come with me, please." Akachukwu quickly followed the manager to his office, but took a moment to look back at the cashier that attended to him and gave her a wicked grin. After a series of checks on his computer system, the bank manager said, "Sir, I'm sorry to say, but this your check is a bounced check. You need to get back to the person that gave it to you." "What are you people saying? It seems there is something wrong with your bank. I believe there is something wrong with this branch of your bank. I will take my check to another branch where I will be properly attended to." Akachukwu went to another branch and was told the same thing. Immediately, he stepped outside the bank. He dialed Larry's phone number and it was not going through. He kept trying his number and got the same response each time. Akachukwu could not reach his daughter, Ugo, on phone because Larry had promised to get her a phone when they got to the city. Since he could not get Larry with his phone, he went to a call center and tried Larry's number, and it rang on the first trial. After a few rings, Larry picked the call. "Ah, my son Larry, it is me, your father-in-law. How are you and your family? I hope you people are doing well." Akachukwu was still speaking when Larry cut the call on him. He tried the number again and it stopped going through. Akachukwu did not know that Larry, on hearing his voice, blocked the line from calling him like he blocked his own number. Akachukwu thought it was a network issue and kept going to different call centers to call Larry. The call would go through, but as soon as Larry picks and hears his voice, he would block that number. After several attempts, Akachukwu went back to the village, but decided that he was going to pay Larry a visit in the city. He was more concerned about Larry's well-being, praying that all was well with him. His concern was because of the 5 million naira and the promises he made to him. The following day, he made his way back to the city. The only challenge was that he didn't know where Larry's house in the city was. It was due to his selfish greed that made him forget that he was supposed to ask questions about his intending in-law, which was the tradition. He was supposed to inquire about Larry's family and their lineage to know if they had a good reputation or not. He was even supposed to find out where Larry lived in the city and ask questions about him as well. But no, he quickly accepted Larry and gave out his daughter, Ugo, to him. Left with no other choice, Akachukwu made his way to Larry's 5-star hotel, where they met the first time he took Ugo to meet him. He got there and inquired about Larry, but was told that Larry was not around. Akachukwu waited and waited until sometime around evening, he saw Larry stepping into the hotel. Excitedly, Akachukwu rushed to Larry to give him a hug, but Larry pushed him away. "My son, I'm so happy to see you. I have been so worried, wondering if everything was alright. I came all the way from the village this morning and have been sitting here waiting for you. How are you and my daughter? I hope you people..." "Old man, what are you doing here?" Larry cut him short angrily. "My son, I hope everything is alright. I came to see if both of you are okay. You sound like you don't recognize me anymore. It's me, Akachukwu, your father-in-law. I know who you are. Did I ask you to come here looking for me? By the way, it is barely 1 week after the traditional marriage, and you are already here. Is this how you intend to be bothering me and my wife? Please go back to the village. In due time, I will come and see you in the village." "But my son, the check," Akachukwu started. "The check bounced, and I told them that they don't know what they are saying. So I brought it back so that maybe you can give me another one. Please, here it is," Akachukwu said as he brought out the check and handed it to Larry. "Go and sort yourself out with the bank. I have given you a check, and that is all that matters. Like I said before, go back to the village and I will come and see you soon." "But I don't even know where you live. It's late in the evening already, and I was thinking that you would take me to your house to pass the night there and also see my daughter." Larry brought out his wallet and counted out 3,000 naira. "Here, leave these premises at once. Like I said, I will come and see you sometime soon. Use this and take yourself back to the village," Larry said as he threw the money at him and went upstairs to his reserved hotel room. Akachukwu stood in bewilderment. He couldn't believe what has just happened. Larry, his own rich son-in-law, could not even welcome him properly, would not take him to his house to see his daughter, and even threw a meager 3,000 naira at him. No, something must be wrong. Maybe someone offended him and he was not in a good mood. Perhaps by tomorrow he will be in a better mood and will even apologize for the way he treated him this evening. Since it was already late to get a bus that would take him back to the village, Akachukwu begged the security men to allow him to spend the night in their security room. Out of pity, they allowed him. The next morning, Akachukwu quickly made his way back into the hotel reception, asking for Larry. But none of the receptionists dared disturb Larry in his hotel room. Akachukwu sat on one of the cushions, waiting patiently in case Larry came down. A few hours later, Larry came down holding the hand of a young girl that was scantily dressed. Akachukwu stood up and walked up to him to speak to him, but Larry ignored him as if he didn't know who he was, entered his car with the girl and drove off. Akachukwu, looking very tired and famished, decided to go back to the village and wait for Larry like he instructed him to do. Meanwhile, back at Larry's mansion was Ugo, who now looked like a shadow of herself. The once cheerful and happy young woman now wears a sad look every day. It turned out that immediately she and Larry got back from the traditional marriage, Larry warned her never to step out of the house. And to make sure she followed others, he instructed the gateman never to allow Ugo leave the house. Larry also restricted her to some parts of the house. She was not allowed to handle any phone or even call anyone. She was only allowed to come downstairs when Larry permitted her to come and see his guests. Larry also instructed the cooks and housekeepers not to interact with Ugo. They were only to go to her when they want to pass her food to her or clean her room. Ugo lived in isolation, crying and weeping and refusing to eat. Her supposed husband, Larry, treated her like a slave. In fact, he already told her that her only role in his life was to bear him children. Ugo barely saw Larry, and even the few nights he came in to lay with her, he rough handles her and leaves her afterward like a prostitute he paid for her services. Ugo could not speak to anyone. Few times she tried to speak to the housekeepers or the cooks. They were all afraid to respond because there were CCTV cameras everywhere, covering everything that was happening in the house. She kept losing weight because she wasn't eating as she should. But other than food, her state of mind was the main reason why she was looking sick. Back in the village, Akachukwu waited and waited. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and yet there was no sign of Larry. By this time, Akachukwu had already started feeling the heat. He had been sustaining himself with the proceeds he got from selling most of the items Larry brought during the traditional wedding. He was beginning to understand that Larry was not going to fulfill any of the promises he made before marrying his daughter. Akachukwu decided to go looking for Larry again, and this time he vowed never to return back without a positive result. The following morning, he got to the park and boarded a bus to the city. On reaching the hotel, he was met by the security men who stopped him at the gate and refused granting him access to the hotel. The security men had previously been instructed by Larry to look out for Akachukwu and to prevent him from entering the hotel anytime they sighted him. Akachukwu did all he could to force his way into the hotel, but to no avail. He begged the security men to give him the address of Larry's house so that he could see his daughter, but no one answered him because, first of all, they had no idea where Larry lived, and even if they did, they dare not give out such information. Akachukwu, now realizing the grave mistake he made by giving away his daughter in marriage to Larry, held his head with his two hands. He regretted marrying off his daughter to such a man as Larry. it dawned on him that Larry had played a fast one on him, and his greed did not allow him to see through him. Since he wasn't allowed entrance into the hotel, nor was he allowed to hang around outside the hotel, Akachukwu sat in front of the building next to the hotel. He noticed that every evening, Larry would drive in with different vehicles and always had a different female passenger sitting in front of the vehicle with him. Each time Akachukwu would try to approach him, Larry would quickly drive into the hotel, and the security men would not allow him enter to speak to Larry. This kept on happening, and after spending 8 days to no avail, Akachukwu returned back to the village. When he returned, his 2 children were looking very sick and malnourished because he left very little food for them before leaving for the city. Day after day, Akachukwu's reality began to set in. Not only had he been deceived by Larry, his daughter, Ugo, who used to work for people to provide for the family, was no longer with him. He began to understand how important Ugo was to him and his household. For the first time in his life, he broke down in tears, weeping and wailing on top of his voice. "Ugom, my daughter, please forgive me. I should have listened to you. I should have allowed you to marry the man you wanted to marry. I allowed my greed and quest for wealth to cloud my judgment. Now, I don't even have anything to live off of. And worst still, I don't even know your whereabouts. Oh, my poor daughter. Who knows what she is going through in the hands of this man? Gods of our land, please show my daughter mercy and protect her from this man called Larry." The next day, Akachukwu called for a meeting with his kinsmen. He told them of everything he had been through trying to reach Larry and his daughter. He asked them to intervene since they were all there to eat and drink when he gave away his daughter in marriage to Larry. "Akachukwu, my brother," one of the elder kinsmen started, "you called us for a meeting to come and intervene in the issue you are having with your in-law. So, it is now that you remembered that you have kinsmen. When you told us that someone was coming for your daughter's hand in marriage, and we asked you if you had made inquiry regarding the man's family, what did you say? Asked us to forget about that, saying that you have already taken care of that aspect. Now, you don't even know how to locate your in-law in his village or in the city. Even when you made those outrageous demands that you listed as marriage list, we warned you, but you wouldn't listen. You even allowed him to go ahead with the marriage without providing what you listed in that list you made up. And even the 5 million naira he paid as bride price, you ate it all alone. And now you are here asking us to come and intervene because we ate and drank at your daughter's traditional wedding. You are not serious, my brother," the man said and sat down. "What 5 million naira are you talking about? The one that he gave me a fake check for? See, my brothers, I am one of you. I accept that I made a lot of mistakes, and although I regret my actions, there is nothing that can be done now but to try and rescue my daughter, who is also your daughter, from the hands of this wicked man. The only reason I will make an effort in rescuing Ugo is because she is a good girl and well loved by all of us. She doesn't deserve what she is going through, and my prayer is that the gods will protect her until we find her and bring her back home," the elder said. Few days later, some of the kinsmen went in search of Larry's family. They went to the village he claimed to be his hometown, but no one seemed to know who he was. They visited all the Njoko families in that village because Larry had claimed that he came from Njoko's family. but none of the families knew him. The king's men returned back to the village, Ndani, and called for a meeting with Akachukwu in attendance. "My brothers," one of the king's men started, "you people sent us out on a mission to go and seek our in-laws' family, and we have returned with a feedback. My brothers, I'm afraid to say this, but it seems like our daughter has been married off to a ghost. We asked all the Njoko families in Isiokpo village, which is where our in-laws said he was from, but no one seemed to know or even heard of him before. We even slept over and continued our search the following day, but not even one person could provide us with the information we sought. At a point, we started checking out any compound that looked like a rich man's home and asked if the owner of the house was our in-law, but we were all left disappointed." While the king's man was still speaking, Akachukwu fell on his knees, letting out a loud cry. "Chimo, my own is finished. What did you just say? That no one has ever heard of Larry in Isiokpo village? Hey, my daughter Ugo, where could she be? What has happened to my daughter? Chai, my ancestors, please come to my rescue. Please help me. Please forgive me. Please help me." Akachukwu continued weeping. "Akachukwu," the elder kinsman continued, "get a grip of yourself. All hope is not lost. Since you said you know of the man's hotel in the city, we will also go there and demand for our daughter's whereabouts." After the meeting, the elders agreed to go with Akachukwu to the city to see Larry. They all got to the city and went straight to Larry's hotel. On sighting Akachukwu, the security men stopped them from gaining access to the hotel. Knowing that arguing or trying to persuade the security men to let them into the hotel was an effort in futility, Akachukwu asked the kinsmen to withdraw to the next building with him and wait for Larry. As usual, as it was getting late in the evening, Akachukwu sighted Larry driving in with another young woman into the hotel. Already, Akachukwu had informed his kinsmen to be on alert and be ready to force their way in once the security men opened the gate for Larry to drive in. As he gave them a signal, all the kinsmen, including Akachukwu, ran after Larry's car and forcefully made their way into the hotel. Larry got down from the car and approached them. "What is going on here? Why are you all scampering about like you are pursuing a thief? Can someone explain what is going on here?" "In-law," the elder kinsman began, "we are your in-laws from Ndani, the place you came to marry our daughter Ugo. We have waited to hear from you, but we have not heard anything. All the promises you made when you came to marry our daughter, you have only fulfilled a few. But that is not even the issue now. We have not heard from our daughter Ugo since the wedding. We want to know how our daughter is doing," he said. "Well, if you must know, your daughter Ugo is fine. Since you people did not inform me before coming, neither did I give you approval to come and see me, you people will have to return back to the village and wait for when both of us will pay you a visit," Larry said. "You are a liar, a blatant liar. You said the same thing to me the last time I spoke with you. You prevented me from seeing or speaking with you. It has been more than 5 months since you asked me to go back to the village, that you will come and see me, but have not honored your word. Today, you must provide my daughter, or I will burn down this hotel of yours," Akachukwu said, looking very angry and ready to fight Larry. "Elders, like I said, please go back to where you are coming from, and at the right time, I will come and pay you people a visit, Larry said. Akachukwu immediately grabbed Larry's shirt and held on to it tightly. You must show me my daughter today, or you will not live to tell the story. I demand to see my daughter at once, Mr. Man, Akachukwu said. Larry raised his hand and gave a signal to the security men. It wasn't up to 15 minutes and policemen landed at the hotel and bundled Akachukwu and all the kinsmen into their police van straight to the station. But before they took them away, Larry came to where Akachukwu was sitting with handcuffs on his hands. Old man, it seems you do not know who you are messing with. It seems like you did not ask questions about me before trying the rubbish you did today. Well, ignorance is not an excuse. And since you decided to make a fool of yourself after I warned you all to go back to where you were coming from, I'm going to make sure all of you rot in jail where no one can rescue you. Since you decided not to go back to your respective homes in peace, you will stay here in the city with me, but behind bars. Next time, when you hear my name alone, you will run for your lives. Officers, take them away. Larry watched as the policemen took the weeping and wailing elders away to the police station before heading into the hotel with the young lady he came with. What will become of Akachukwu and the elders at the police station since Larry instructed the policeman never to allow them call anyone or come and bail them out? What of Ugo? How will she be rescued from the hands of Larry, who has kept her hostage in his house? What role did Chidi, the suitor Akachukwu rejected, play in the whole situation? You will find out in the concluding part of this story, dropping shortly. In the meantime, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I drop the last part of the story. And if you can, please leave a comment in the comment section. I love hearing from you. Until I come your way again soon, stay happy.